And this is your election headquarters. The NPP MP for Doma is Paul Chum. Berima says the Electoral Commission, as an independent body, is constitutionally allowed to decide on whether or not it would want to hold the voters' registration exercise. The EC has come under intense pressure from the opposition National Democratic Congress, who have sued the electoral management body to decentralize the process to the electoral area level, which is the concern of the main political party. Speaking to journalists, the legislator, however, asked the EC to engage, to reach out, and to also ensure that they have a compromise on this matter. Listen.
I believe the Constitution is clear that every person or every citizen who is 18 years and above must be given opportunity to vote. It is their civil right, and no one should take it away from them. So the EC has a duty to ensure that anybody who is 18 years and above casts his or her vote. However, the processes of doing that must always, or must also be good, must be fully, must be, how do you call it? It must be exhausted. It's a limited registration in the first place. Obviously, yes, if you decentralize it to a certain point, some of us will all be saved. I mean, as we see it, we've been taxed to see how people will get votes, get registered and all that. But also, don't forget, as a citizen, you also have a duty to know, to make sure that you are registered. So even though, yes, we are calling on the EC to ensure that every effort that they can do or they can put in to ensure that these people are registered without any difficulties, we are also calling on the citizens to help the EC achieve that aim. It must be a win-win. I appreciate what my seniors or the other party people are doing. Yes, this is the right call.
Paul Chumberma says matters of these nature should have been discussed at IPAC.
That's why we have IPAC. We must sit and be able to draw. And it should always be difficult. Yes, one would say that maybe the decision came up at IPAC and the EC may have resisted what some of them said. Because the EC also probably will look at his financial strength, look at his staff strength and all that. But this is limited. Even though one would say that, oh, over 3 years now, they have not done any registration, so it cannot be limited. But yes, but you also know that they have to look at it well. So we will call on EC that if there is something that they can do to help us, please, they should do. However, if you're a citizen and you're 18 years and above, it is your duty, it is your civil right. You don't need somebody to come and tell you to do your civil right. It's about time that Ghana, we should also let we the citizens do what we are supposed to do. Even in the Bible, when Jesus Christ was performing miracles, there were some people that when he performed the miracle, he expected to do.
Okay, so how do we deal with this, and what exactly is the concern of some of these majority MPs in the House? Parliamentary correspondent Kwekwa Asante is joining us with details on that. Quite a rare outburst from an MP who's on the side of the governing party. The NDC says that the system must be decentralized. And mind you, at the local level and in these elections, no political party is sponsoring this. So what's the concern of this MP?
In fact, if you look at this MP and the concerns he's expressing, his belief is that the Electoral Commission, although having the powers to be able to decide specifically where to hold these registrations, they must also take into consideration the bigger concerns that the public has expressed. We already know that yesterday, the NDC and 4 other political parties filed an action in the Supreme Court seeking an order to compel the Electoral Commission to decentralize this process to the electoral area level. That matter has not been heard yet. In fact, a date has not even been set, and we expect that Monday, the Chief Justice, upon her return from some official duties, will set the date. The minority also said that they find that bizarre, but they are also seeking an interlocutory injunction which will prohibit the Electoral Commission from going ahead to do this. Already, there are those who have said that that is an action that is bound to fail because the Supreme Court have already said on countless occasions that they are very much unwilling to injunct constitutional bodies from going ahead with their duties. But mind you, this registration exercise is happening on Tuesday. And so the minority, and their mother political party, the NDC, they are racing against time to be able to get some order from the court to be able to stop the Electoral Commission or at least get it to decentralize the process. But if you listen to this MP's concern is that the EC clearly has the power to be able to do what it's purporting to do, and that if there is any change that must happen, that should be by the Electoral Commission's own discretion. In the past few days, I've been speaking with some very high-ranking officials of the Electoral Commission, and they said that they are adamant, they are not going to change course, and that on Tuesday when the registration starts, that is going to happen in the district offices. So the NDC on two fronts. Today, for instance, they were in court having to do with matters regarding their protests at the Bank of Ghana, and their other side also fighting these matters having to do with the EC.
Former President John Dramani Mahama amongst the list of individuals asking for the process to be decentralized. Why is the EC not yielding to this?
I think a part of it mainly has to do with budgetary constraints. The Electoral Commission, although has not publicly admitted that that is the concern, but the insider information some of us are getting is that the Electoral Commission may be struggling in terms of its ability to raise enough revenue to be able to do that. There are more than 9,000 polling stations and electoral areas across the country. That means that the Electoral Commission would have to double personnel, they would have to double equipment, and then they have to quite triple the amount of money they are going to spend on that. And so that is one big issue that the EC is binging its guns on. The other point has to do with the EC's insistence that this is a limited voter registration and not the wholesale voter registration where people can go and register. This is just open for people who turned 18 since 2019, the last time that there was a limited voter registration exercise. And so they believe that these persons should be able to turn up in the offices of the EC to register. But that is the sticking point. The Electoral Commission says they'll continue, they are going to go ahead. We want to see if the Supreme Court will first injunct it or whether or not they will give any ruling that will suggest that the Electoral Commission must decentralize this process.
And some are also insinuating that this might be a payback time for the EC, given what the NDC has been doing with the CI regarding reforms ahead of the 2024 elections.
Exactly. In fact, one of the reasons why this voter registration exercise has delayed this much is because the Electoral Commission was hoping that Parliament would approve its constitutional instrument, the proposed CI, that would have made the Ghana card the sole identity document. The EC hasn't gotten that. And so if you look at this registration exercise that is going to happen, persons who don't have the Ghana card can rely on the guarantee of 2 persons to be able to register, although for a person to grant, you cannot grant for more than 10 persons. Those are the consents. And so the Electoral Commission is clearly going ahead with this with one point in mind, that it may be payback time to the minority. Because ordinarily, some negotiations would have taken place. We understand that the Electoral Commission wanted to try and negotiate its way around this. They didn't get that because even the majority had already sold something to the minority and gotten a buy-in, and all of them signing onto a document to do that. So it appears the minority will have to keep on, because today, for instance, they were in court. They didn't get so much of a good victory having to do with their Bank of Ghana protest that they want to get into. But this one is also something that they are following closely, because the ability of more persons to register hinges on this NDC's ability to win 2024 election. And that is why they are really much on this.
There's the question about the status of the CI itself and what Parliament intends to do with the bill going forward, or the instrument going forward.
So the CI is currently undergoing what is called the pre-laying stage. So what is happening is that leadership on both sides are discussing the ideas having to do with the CI. But as of now, both sides have already picked their position. Initially, the majority supported the Electoral Commission to make the Ghana card the sole identity document. But later on, you recall that government wanted to introduce some 3 taxes, and they were struggling to get their numbers on the floor. And so they went into some alliance with the minority that help us pass these taxes, and then we can support you in your opposition to the ECCI. So on the day they passed the taxes, they came together and did what is called the Committee of the Whole, and then put together a report signed by the Speaker of Parliament himself that recommended to the Electoral Commission that if you want this CI to go through in Parliament, then you would have to amend the part that having to do with the Ghana card being the sole identity document. Introduce the guarantor system. The EC, as we know now, say that that's not something that they are going to consider at all. And so the CI is at a standstill. It is not moving through the stages in Parliament.
The NDC's case in court What are the major reliefs at this moment?
So there's a major order that they are seeking, that the Supreme Court must order the Electoral Commission to decentralize the process to the electoral area level. They believe that that will afford the number of Ghanaians who have turned 18 since 2020 to be able to register. In fact, if you look at certain parts of the country, like Afram Plains North, for instance, there are so many island communities, some of which you would have to travel about 4, 5, 6 hours to be able to get to Donko Krom, which is the capital of the district. And so the concern is that so many of these people are not going to bear the cost that comes with it to come all the way to Donko Krom to come and register. So mainly the NDC is seeking an order directed at the Electoral Commission to decentralize the process and allow the registration process to be held in the electoral areas in the various constituencies as part of the district office as well. So that means that at your various polling station or the place that you elect your assemblyman, the EC would have to set up at that place and register. And so that is why we are all waiting for the court to set some date for the conversation to happen, and then the ruling will be expected.
And if we're to take a look at the deadline and the timeline for the elections itself, there are fears that these concerns may not have been addressed at the time of the election.
Definitely. In fact, if you look at the registration exercise that's about to happen, that will happen next week, Tuesday. If the court process does not get through before then, and the EC starts the process and ends it, what will be the utility of any court order anyway in the first place? So that's the first point. There's also the district level elections, which is coming up in December, 19th December to be specific. And the minority have been insisting that the EC needs to get some of these things in place before that election. And without them, the EC may struggle to hold that election. The EC, on the other hand, has said that they needed a CI to be able to organize this new election. The CI has been at a standstill for some time now. So it appears the Electoral Commission would have to rely on the existing CI, which they have been seeking to amend to organize that election and to continue doing what it's going to do. But what we foresee is that the majority at some point may bow to political pressure and cave in regarding their agreement with the majority. Because mind you, all the EC needs to do is to lay the CI, to give it to the majority leader, to lay it on the days, and it's late. In 21 days, if Parliament is not able to get 2/3 support to annul that CI, the CI would have matured into law. And so all the majority need to do is to say that now we've withdrawn our support for the minority. Once the CI is laid, the NDC cannot on its own get 173 MPs to vote to reject the CI.
But that will also be detrimental to the majority side, knowing
yes,
that there are some compromises.
that clearly means that they would have to hope that in the future they get their numbers on the floor every time there's any crucial vote to be taken. And getting into 2024, you can be rest assured that there are a lot crucial business that are going to come in from the government. In 2024, maybe government may wish to do a lot of projects or take loans to do projects that will inure to its benefit in the 2024 election. And if they come to the floor, the minority are in opposition, they will struggle.
And when is Parliament resuming, and what's likely to happen to the CI from the Electoral Commission? So
Parliament is expected to resume somewhere third week of October, and we expect that when that comes, the CI, the EC will make another push. I'm sure within this break, they're having conversations with the leadership of the House to try and see if they can reach a compromise. But I believe that what is attracting the attention of the minority now, aside the voter registration exercise, as well as the CI, is the concerns having to do with the Bank of Ghana governor and his deputies. We know that they've been in court. Today again, they were in court. The police had sued them, seeking to restrain them from going ahead with the protest that was originally scheduled for last Tuesday, which has also been moved now to Tuesday. Today at 2 p.m., there was expected to be a meeting between the minority and the police hierarchy. That meeting has also been called off now. So clearly, the minority fighting a lot of battles on all fronts. They are hoping that next week, Tuesday, they will be able to protest and demand that the Bank of Ghana governor resign. The sticking point is that they have a disagreement with the police as to whether or not they can picket at the Bank of Ghana premises, which the police say is a security zone. They will not be allowed to do so. The minority say even the White House, even the Flagstaff has people march there sometimes. So what are you talking about when you say we cannot march to the Bank of Ghana head office? So that is, it appears the minority in Parliament is focused on that battle now, out of the bigger battles that will come when House resume, whilst leaving this matter having to do with the ECCI and the voter registration to its mother party, the NDC.
Thank you for giving us the latest from Parliament. And that's Kweku Asante giving us all you need to know about the concerns by the opposition NDC on the limited registration exercise.